Okay. Okay, we're all set. The people are joining. We are recording. So hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us in this webinar session about gamification in language learning. I am Nicole Carvelli, and I'm working at Edugo AI in the business development team. Today with me, there is Giuseppe Tomasello, who's the company founder and CEO, and he is going to introduce himself in a while and give us the presentation. So he will be the webinar host. Thank you all of you to be with us. And this is not the first webinar about gamification that we are hosting. Actually, we did one, I think 1 month ago, more or less. And I would like to know if any of you was there in the live session or watched already the recording. So if this is the first time, it's okay, because we are going to start with some fundamentals about gamification, but we would like to know just to tailor a little bit more the presentation. So just drop a message in the chat. And all the while, let us also know, I don't know, if you work like in a language school or if you are a freelance language teacher, let us know a little bit more about you. And remember that the chat will always be open. So while we wait for your replies, I would like to tell you that today we are going to talk about the Octolysis Framework, that is the framework for the gamification. Then we are going to talk about learn-to-earn dynamics that to boost the student engagement. And then Giuseppe is going to show us a real case studies on how to use Edugo AI technology to create gamified language lessons. So at this point, I think that Giuseppe, I would like to give you the floor so you can introduce yourself and go ahead with the presentation.
Sure. Thank you, Nicole, for the introduction, and thank you to all of you for taking the time to join this webinar. I know many people right now are on holidays, so I'm very happy that you guys found the time to learn with us about gamification. And I will share my screen because I prepared some slides to support my presentation. So first of all, I would like to give a brief introduction about myself. So my name is Giuseppe Tomasello, as Nicole said. I'm Italian and I've been living in different parts of the world. So I just recently ended my adventure in China. That has been 7 years, actually. I spent the last 7 years in China and recently moved to Dubai. But I always been passionate about language learning. So every time I go to a new place, I always love to learn the language. And actually, when I arrived in China, I found that learning Chinese was extremely difficult. And so I started to build a software that can help me to learn Chinese, right, in a more personalized way. And that was really the origin story of Edugo. I started this software in China, and it was a very selfish need. But after 5 years, actually, our software evolved quite a bit. And now it's used by large language institutions, but also by individual teachers in order to build an online business. So what we say is that you can build and scale your online language business using our platform. And you can do that by using white label solutions. So today, actually, we're going to talk about gamification, and I think it's an incredibly interesting topic, especially to me, because gamification means to apply like non-game elements in non-game context. And what really is important is that we are going to put the student at the center of the learning experience. So that was a little bit also the reason why I started the company in the first place. We always been like user or student-centric. And that's the reason why we're also very passionate about gamification, because we think that gamification can help us to boost the student engagement. I don't know if you guys can see my screen, actually. Nicole, can you confirm if you can see the screen?
I can see it.
Okay, fantastic. So as Nicole already said, we're going to cover some topics. First of all, we're going to explore a little bit about the theory. This is called Octalysis Framework, and actually is a complete framework that has been built in order to build gamified learning activities. And then we're going to cover about something very new and innovative that we launched at Edugo last month. which is a project that leverages NFTs and crypto in order to create superior motivation for students and gamify it to the next level. So we're going to explore also what are the might be the next evolution of gamification, and to show some example applied in language learning. And at the end, we're going to demo to you the platform we built, and we're going to show to you how Edugo leverages artificial intelligence to create gamified learning activities specific for language learning in just a few seconds, literally seconds. Then we can actually count how much time it takes, but it's very, very quick, and you can create amazing learning activities. At the end, then we're going to open up to Q&A. So if you have any questions and you want to explore some other parts of the platform, or also you want to comment what has been said, you can ask at the end the questions. In the meantime, if you want to type also in the chat, then at the end, we are going to read all the questions in the chat. So, okay, let's start. One of the first things I like to do is that whenever we talk about a solution, it's very good to start to understand better what is the problem we're trying to solve, because gamification is just a solution. But a solution is a solution for a problem that I believe is one of the biggest problems we have right now in education. So what I like to say is education is a system in an engagement crisis, because I believe that you can see also maybe like in your experience going through school, that the school is always not that engaging, and the kids usually feel like it's very boring. So they prefer to play video games instead of staying in school, right? And I believe the same is also for language learning. And so the main problem, I think, is that the students are disengaged. And the picture that I want to put in the slide is a student sleeping in front of a computer, probably is in front of a Zoom class, maybe 2 hours long, a language lecture, and of course is very bored and disengaged. And I think the reason why this is the case is because we are using a design approach for our courses and classes that is what we call a waterfall approach. Waterfall means that you have a top-down approach, when usually you have a pedagogical expert or curriculum designer that is designing a course, and then you have actually teachers that are taking this curriculum and actually are lecturing students in order to achieve some specific learning outcomes. And I think this is a completely wrong way to design learning experience. And the gamification can help us to put the student at the center of the design of our language program. So I want to give you a quick definition of what is gamification. Sorry, I missed a slide. Okay, so gamification is also human-focused design. As I just said, is putting the human, the person at the center of the design. And is mainly focused for human motivation. So you need to the thing I think people get wrong about when they think about gamification for the first time is that it's like building a game, but actually it's something deeper than that. So gamification is using game elements that we know work very well for games and try to apply them in a non-game context. Right, so it's kind of like the process of analyzing why kids love to spend hours playing video games, and what are the kind of motivation that give them the kids a lot of motivation to play those games, and try to reverse engineer those elements and try to apply it in your design of your system. And in order to understand better how this works, we are very lucky because we have a framework. And frameworks can help us to understand better how those to develop complex systems. And the framework I would like to introduce to you today is called the Octalysis Framework. This framework has been built by Yokai Cho, which is a Korean American, and yeah, he wrote an amazing book that I read the countless times. In one of those books that I read maybe 10 times, because every time you read, you discover something new. So I encourage you to read this book as well, in case you are interested in learning more about gamification. But today I just want to give you a high-level explanation of what is the Octolysis Framework. And of course, I hope that then you can get curious to go and dive deeper and read the book. But the Octolysis Framework is a human-focused gamification design framework and basically is composed by 8 core drives, and those are called like core drives for human motivations. What that means is that it kind of decomposed by analyzing games what are the core elements that motivate people to play games. And then they created 8 different core drives. So the first one is called epic meaning, which means like, I don't know if you ever play video games and you start a video game saying, oh, you are this hero and you need to save the world or save the universe. And so you're the only one who can do that. So that's the reason why like they create this kind of epic meaning to make you feel very excited to play the game. The second one is called empowerment. And empowerment is the kind of, just to give you another example, is when you play Pokemon, right? And then you see your Pokemon actually like maybe evolving, right? Your Charmander becomes a Charizard, right? Like, so you see like, okay, you're getting new powers. And therefore, these actually give to the player a sense of empowerment because it's becoming more stronger and can do more things, unlock new abilities. The third one, actually, sorry, I'm going the wrong direction. So the second one is accomplishment, and the third one is empowerment. I'm following like the numbers. I was going like clockwise. So I guess I will continue to go clockwise. So we go to social influence, which will be called drive number 5. And this is important because you see in many games, what we have is like leaderboards, right? And many also language learning apps use leaderboards. And the leaderboard is a very powerful tool because it's giving you this kind of like a social power. Because if you're the number 1 on the leaderboard, you kind of have like, you demonstrate that you're the best at the game compared to other people who are also playing the same game. The 7th is unpredictability, which is actually the core drive that is used, for example, in social media. I guess all of you use some sort of social media like TikTok or Instagram, and usually what they do is that on the feed, they make you actually scroll, right? And the interesting thing about the unpredictability is that you always want to see what's next. So you really cannot stop scrolling this feed. And this, I think, like a technique that was optimized by TikTok, for example, and I think is a great example of this kind of like gamification implemented in social media. The number 8 is avoidance, and this is also like another very powerful technique that is, for example, when you build up something in a game and then you don't want to lose it. You want to lose what you already built. In economics, it's called sunk cost. In game design, it's called avoidance. And basically what it means is, I don't know if you ever played this Farmville. It was a very popular game that was available on Facebook from Zynga. And basically every day you have to go there and you need to take care of your crop. And if for one day you don't go back, your crop will die, right? And so like they leverage this avoidance technique in order to drive motivation of users. Scarcity is another important one. And I love scarcity because it's also connected with the NFT and crypto space. We're going to show to you also in the second part of the presentation how we can use gamification and crypto together. And I believe scarcity is a very powerful one because it means something that is scarce in a game is valuable. You can see, for example, if you play Fortnite or other kind of games, you have those kind of skins, and those skins usually are very rare, therefore like are very powerful. So fourth one is ownership, and ownership is when you can achieve something in the game that gives you actually like some kind of resources. In crypto, for example, this is very obvious because you can have ownership of, for example, tokens that then have economic value. But in other games, also like having ownership of land or having ownership of some game items give a lot of motivation to users. And the last one is accomplishment. The example I love to use is Super Mario. When you go and play Super Mario, and at the end you save the princess, and that is actually you accomplished to do that, and then actually make you feel very motivated to continue to play the game. So to go a little deeper on this Octolysis framework, it's important that we understand what is like left brain and right brain, because the framework is divided actually from the left and right. You can see that on the left side, we have the part of the human drives that are related to logic, ownership, analytical thoughts. What you can also think about those about extrinsic motivation, which means is like something that you are getting that is not strictly linked to your inner motivation, but is extrinsic. It's from the outside. It's more logical. On the right side, instead, you have right brain core drives, which are linked to creativity, sociality, and curiosity. And those usually are more like intrinsic, so are linked to your need as a player of the game. An example I love to use is chess, because I love to play chess. And chess is a very interesting one because it's kind of leveraging the creativity of the player. And you play the game because you are intrinsically motivating to play the game, right? And it's also leveraging all this kind of like sociality and curiosity elements. Okay, so also a very important distinction from the framework is white hat and black hat gamification. The white hat is actually the positive one that makes the user feel positive emotions. For example, feel empowered, fulfilled, and satisfied. On the bottom of the framework, you have the black hat that makes the user feel obsessed, anxious, and addicted. An example I love to say about this is like on the white hat gamification, the best example I know is about Wikipedia. Wikipedia managed to use this the epic meaning, so the core drive number 1, to give to the users the kind of like the motivation to participate in improving the database of Wikipedia, to write more information inside of Wikipedia. And those people don't get paid to do that. They do an incredible amount of work. They don't get paid because they have this kind of epic meaning, because they know by contributing in Wikipedia, they're contributing in expanding like the kind of knowledge of the world, right? Like it's this kind of like open knowledge database for the world is free to and open to everyone. On the other hand, an example from black hat gamification is the gambling, right? Like if you go to casinos, you can see, and you play to any kind of like a game, you can see that they're using this kind of like black hat core drives. For example, the slot machines, they use this kind of unpredictability. And so like you pull the lever, you always want to know what's next, and you don't know if you're going to win or not. And I believe that actually the unpredictability is also the same core drive that is linked to social media. And I think there is a kind of like correlation there between social media and gambling in some sense. But also like you have other kind of technique that they use in gambling, for example, like the avoidance. For example, if you go and you play and you lose, then you want to get your money back, right? So you're very motivated to keep playing in the casinos. So now that we have a theoretical framework, so it's easier for us to understand how gamification works, I would like to share some examples so you guys can actually see maybe some of the apps already familiar to you from a different perspective. So the first example I would like to share is Duolingo. Why Duolingo? Because of course everyone knows about Duolingo. And I believe also they are doing a great job in implementing like gamification in their system. And so like there is an article that we're going to share with you that basically analyzes Duolingo from the Octolysis Framework standpoint. And then they analyze, actually, they use the core drive number 2, which is development and accomplishment, quite a bit. And for example, here you can see that they are using badges and leaderboard in order to motivate users in order to keep playing in the platform. And these, of course, make the user feel empowered because they are leveling up. They are actually like completing the curriculum and earning some gems and points. This usually this is one of the most common way that you can implement gamification in the language learning context. So usually if you go and download any app from the App Store, you can find that the kind of elements that they're using are more or less the same, which are point, badges, and leaderboard. But Duolingo also does something else, which is also using a black hat gamification technique, which is loss and avoidance. And this one actually is the daily streak. means that you have to go every day in the app and complete a lesson in order to keep your daily streak. And the problem of the daily streak is that if you don't go back for one day, then you will lose it, right? And so people keep going back in the Duolingo app because they are afraid to lose this daily streak that they've been accumulating over the time. And the bigger your daily streak gets, the more like your sense of loss becomes like stronger. And therefore, some people get very, very obsessed with that, but in a negative way. And actually, there is a study about the daily streak and the impact of Duolingo users. And usually, when you break your daily streak, you stop using Duolingo. So, and this is actually something to fix that. In fact, they put some kind of other way that you can fix that. For example, you can pay some gems in order to keep your streak going on. But that's actually the risk of using Black Hat. Is that can be very powerful. People go back, it works very well, but then it can be also giving negative feelings to the user. So you need to be careful using Black Hat gamification. Now, now we have an example of Web 2, so like a normal language learning platform that uses gamification like Duolingo. I would like to introduce something new. And actually I would like to ask to all of you, like, how many of you ever heard about crypto or NFT? Is it something that is familiar to all of you, or like it's something that you guys don't have any clue? Can you tell me in the chat if you have any familiarity with that? Okay, Julia said yes. Okay, Natasha, yes. So great. I think also because recently it's been like a buzzword, and there's been a lot of attention for crypto, but I would like to introduce you this game, and I think it's a very interesting use case for gamification and crypto. This game is called Axie Infinity, and Axie Infinity is a very similar game to Pokemon, where basically you have those little monsters, you create a crew, and then you can battle other people. And then but the main difference is that if you win a battle, you're earning what they call a SLP token. And SLP means a small love potions, which is an in-game token. But the interesting thing is that this token can be exchanged for like money, which is a very important difference compared to normal games, right? And what happened is that I think in August 2021, the game peaked, and they had around like 3 million daily active users in the game. So they had like a massive audience playing this game. And I also put here like some Filipino merchants prefer payment in Axie SLP because this game became very popular in the Philippines and in developing countries. Like Venezuela and other like Southeast Asia country. And in Philippines, it became so powerful and so popular that the SLP, so the in-game currency, became a real currency in the Philippine economy. And so some merchants prefer to accept the SLP token instead of their like national currency, which is kind of mind-blowing. And the reason is because people in the Philippines could earn like $400, $500 per month by playing the game, which is above the basic, the lower income salary. So basically for some people it was more like, it became a job. Like some people were working on this game. And the interesting thing is also that they use a very powerful gamification technique, which is the one of like giving ownership to the people, which means paying money. These are on the less brain side. So I became fascinated about this idea of Axie Infinity. I started to learn about how it works. And then I thought, that would be amazing if this principle can be applied also in education. Because the difference between playing Axie Infinity is that the utility of Axie Infinity might be only entertainment. So you're playing the game, you get entertained. But for education, of course, the utility is that you're leveling up your skills and you're getting some real world utility. That's the reason why we start to think about that. And then I thought like, okay, maybe we can test this idea. And that's the reason why we created a spin-off of Edugo that's called Nimble to Earn. And the idea is very simple. You learn a language and you earn crypto, right? So if you can find a way to give to solve the motivation by using this gamification technique that is basically giving rewards to people, like a real reward for learning a language. And so these are the reason why we created this NFT that we are about to launch. It's called a Chubby Panda. And basically, it's very simple how it works. You have the NFT, you go in the platform, you learn a language, and then you earn money. You earn crypto. And the art is a chubby panda, which will be like, the idea is like to have a cute and foodie panda that loves to eat and learn. And so like we started with learning Chinese, but then we're expanding also other collection for other languages. And the idea is that you eat Chinese food, and every time you eat, you're becoming a little, your panda is becoming chubbier, but is also leveling up the skills. So that's a little bit the game mechanic. How it works is that you have, of course, like a curriculum in the platform. You can have some gamified learning activities. And at the end, if you complete your learning activity, you can earn some points. And those points will be tokens. We also leverage another gamification technique that is actually the empowerment, like similar to Pokemon. So your panda is leveling up, so can go to a next level. In fact, you can see here that, here you can see like we created like 6 levels. That's the reason why like we want to give to the user the kind of like attachment to this panda, and the fact that if level up the panda is actually can earn higher rewards. In fact, that's what we have here, like bigger belly, bigger rewards. So the more like you level up your panda, you're earning more tokens and you're earning more rewards. So you have the motivation to level up your panda. And that's a little bit how the system will work. So you need to have the NFT, you learn, you earn those tokens. You can use the tokens in order to, buy more NFT or to level up your NFT, but also we will have teachers inside the platform. And therefore, you can also like use those tokens to buy lessons with real teachers. And in that way, you're also bringing like a real world utility and a real economy inside the system. So that's the reason why like we believe that gamification is an incredibly powerful technique. But if we can mix gamification also with crypto incentives and to give ownership to people about like, for example, you can own your NFT of the panda and you can actually like level up this panda. This panda is linked to your knowledge about the language. We can build a much more engaging learning experience. And also we can, help people that maybe they don't have the money to go to schools and learn. They can actually grind and earn tokens, and then they can spend to have a lesson with the teacher. So this can be also very powerful in developing countries, and that would be amazing if we can make people like their job is to learn, like in the same way that Axie Infinity, that people in the Philippines, their job was to play the game. I think this can have a much higher impact. I believe that we're going to see a lot of evolution in this, using those crypto techniques inside the education industry. We're still very, very early right now, so we are actually like one of the first making this kind of moves. But we're very, very fascinated about the topic, and we are willing to explore this topic even more. Okay, so now that we covered a little bit of theory, I would like to actually demo to you the platform and how it actually works. Because the idea also of Lingo to Earn is for us to understand how these game mechanics work, and then to give those game mechanics to educators like you. And so that's the reason why we have a platform that we built over the years, and we try to make like this the creation of content and creation of gamified experience in Edugo platform as easy as possible. And so I want to share with you like actually this platform is like, this is Lingo to Earn platform. I want to demo to you how this platform works, but you need to understand that the same platform can be white label also for any kind of language school. So you can see here, this is another platform that is working exactly in the same way. And I guess also like you are enrolled in the Academy, which is also like another platform that is built with Edugo. So we can create many different kind of platforms, and all of those platforms will be white labeled. which means like the brand element can be about your school, or if you're an individual teacher, you can create your own branding, and you can host everything inside the platform. So right now I want to share with you like the lesson creation process, and also like the way we are creating gamification experience in the platform. So what we have in Edugo, we built actually what we call like templates, and those templates are basically they are structure that have some kind of pedagogical structures that you can use in order to create very powerful like lessons automatically. And so, for example, you can see here. I'm trying to move the zoom. Okay. Okay. For example, if you want to create like a vocabulary lesson inside the platform, it can be pretty straightforward. So you can have, I don't know, like you can decide what kind is the topic of the lesson. It can be about fruits. Actually, this platform is for learning Chinese, but the same can be done also for any other language. Right now, we support 7 languages, and we are adding more languages. So you see, like here, you can. Okay, so banana, and these are very simple. Of course, you can input any kind of words that you want to teach to your student. Shigua, which is watermelon. Okay. So what I did is just like input 3 words inside the system, and what is you see like already like the system generated a bunch of like learning activities. So those are like all structures that we have already in the platform. We use a lot of images, but those are like kind of like going from very simple to harder lessons, and then I can already. I can review the lessons being created, and then I just finish. And now you can see that the lesson fruit is being created, and then I can share it for with students or creating in a course. And the experience is very gamified because you have, for example, your lives. And let me try. Like if I fail, okay, there's a game over. And so this is actually giving to the student like the challenge of like completing the lesson. If I go through all the lesson, then I will be able to get points and also have a leaderboard. That's how the system works. I can show also like you can embed then this lesson inside the classroom. What you call like a classroom can be, for example, here in Edugo we're doing like daily quest. You have like students going inside the platform, and then you have also like a leaderboard. So basically, the students get the points, then they can compare inside the like a leaderboard inside the classroom. So you have many other things you can do here. For example, you have the interaction with the community, so you have also the social elements. You can create a full gamified learning experience inside the platform, literally like in seconds. So that's actually the value proposition of what we're offering, and there's just one part of our system. Of course, the system is not only for vocabulary, that is the simplest one I share with you, but the system also works with, for example, you can upload the video inside the platform, and the kind of same, in the same way you can create a gamified experiences. I will go for this. I will show you for, I will create a test lesson, just to show you how it works also for the video. Because of course, vocabulary, I know is not that impressive, but already like with videos is, I believe is a better, is more difficult for teachers to transform a video into a gamified learning experience. Sorry, I'm searching for the video here. Okay, here we go. So I prepared this video. This is a video I took it from YouTube. So it can be any kind of language learning video. As you see here, this is from my YouTube channel. And I uploaded the video in the platform, right? So what happens is that the video now is being transcribed. as you can see here, we have all the transcription with all the timestamps and the English translation as well. That's being generated by our AI system. And what you can do is you can have some of those what we call like key sentences, which are like key language points that you want to add. For example, I can select 3 sentences. And then also I can select some of the keywords that I believe are important for the students to learn. And you can see here the sentences has been created. So also it's important that the video has been splitted and tokenized. So now you have only that frame that's saying the specific sentence. And then press next. I can focus on some of the words. And yeah, that's it. So as you can see here, the system already created a bunch of learning activities and are divided by skills. So these are more complicated learning structure because I'm teaching also like different kind of skills. For example, like I have speaking exercises, I can repeat what the teacher said and many other things. All this is gamified and is nicely embedded in the platform. So this is how the system works. And our idea is that we want to give the power to educators in order to create powerful gamified activities and then deliver to the students in the easiest time possible. And so if you already are an educator that created the content, it would be pretty easy to go in our platform and create your kind of like online school, right? Like when you can have your students, you can deliver the content and you can really increase the engagement of your students thanks to gamification. And last, I would like to finish with a call to action. We have our new website that is online. So you can go on edugo.ai and you can check everything, of course, if you have any questions like about the pricing or more resources on how the system works, and also about the other previous webinars, articles, and the product features. Of course, there are a lot of product features that I didn't show today because it was too much to show, but you can now go and explore more on the website. And if you are interested, you can press get started and you're going to be able to get to your platform. You fill in the form and then we'll get back to you with the platform. Okay, so that's it on my side. Last thing is that if you're interested also in learning more about gamification, Nicola said at the beginning, we had another webinar where I go a little deeper and explain other stuff about gamification. We have the time today. So you can also go and watch it. And also this webinar will be available on YouTube as well in our YouTube channel. So if you want to follow that, you can get all the updates about the new webinars. And now, thank you so much for staying with us till the end. I would like to open up some Q&A. If you guys have any questions or any comment, it would be great. And yeah, so I finished the screen sharing. Since we are not many today, also if you guys want to unmute yourself and ask the question directly, will be also can be also an option.
Okay. Yeah, all the while, Giuseppe, thank you for the presentation. You can breathe a little bit, drink some water while people are asking the question. I just want to say that in the meanwhile that you were speaking, I sent the link both of the website as well of the previous webinar in the chat. So you can all go there and check. I'm also going to link the YouTube channel so that in case you'd like to check out other webinars about other topics that we covered in the past, you will find them all there. So just this one. And then let's see if we have some questions here.
Can about anything really, like if you have also some other ideas about gamification that you love, I want to share also with other people. So
is it?
Yeah,
sorry. Is there a hand raising?
No,
I couldn't find the hand raising. Yeah, I was wondering, like the way that the kind of school platform is set up with, so basically you could have a classroom leaderboard type of situation. Could that work for a whole school? Like say if you had multiple teachers, like could you have, like are there different levels of control in some way where it's like you have multiple classes in the same platform?
Yes, thank you, Jeremy, for the question. Actually, yes, this is already like what we do because we work with large language schools as well. that have more than 100 teachers. And so like you have actually three different layer of control in the platform. You have the owner, which is the one that create the platform and can delete the platform if wants and change the price and whatever. And then you have the manager side, which is basically like can be like, for example, the manager of the teachers, right? Like can control what the teachers are doing. And then you have the teachers level that is basically like you can see his own class and have his own students assigned. You can have access to the content. And so we have these kind of three levels, and we can work with what we say we can scale from 1 to 1,000 teachers with no problem in the same architecture of the system.
Okay. So you could have kind of all of the students in an organization sort of looking at the leaderboards, or like different organizations kind of looking at those.
Exactly. So you can create different kind of like classes inside the same platform, and therefore you can have, for example, 10 students that are just looking at their leaderboard, but also you could create like a global leaderboard maybe for your school.
Right. Okay. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Okay. Okay, so if you guys don't have any more question, I think that's fine. I think also like there is a bunch of things I maybe talked today that might be a little confusing. If you don't know about like NFTs and crypto, especially that part, I understand that might be a little intimidating, but I think like it's worth to spend some time to learn about this technology, because I think it will be transformational also for the education industry.
Actually, sorry if you don't mind, because you know how there was an audio transcription and then it kind of divided it into parts. Like, does that work? I guess it must work the same thing if you have a text, like you could put any article, or can that kind of create somewhat of a reading?
Exactly.
You can kind of create a reading lesson with that too.
This can work. We have different kind of templates. So today I share 2 templates, which one is just for words, like the vocabulary template, and then the video template. But we also have the article, which you can take text, or also like audio. So for example, if you have a podcast, or you can also have one template is called short audio, which is basically you can record sentence by sentence, and then you can create other kind of exercises.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Okay, great. So then if you want, we can activate a platform for you so you can play with the system and understand better how it works.
Okay.
Okay, amazing. Great. Okay. Thank you so much then, guys, for your time. If you don't have any other questions, I will say that looking forward for the next webinar, which will be in 2 weeks. And then I wish you an amazing weekend. Thank you so much again for spending your Friday afternoon, morning, night, depends on where you are with us.
Okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. See you.
Bye.